angels, it's Hailey Reese, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so grateful that you are here, and I hope that you are having an absolutely beautiful, wonderful, magical, all the good things, morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. Guys, I am so excited to get into today's video. I had asked you guys prior to December beginning in one of my videos what it is that you wanted to see from me, what you were overseeing from me, and so many of you said that you miss my personal story times of the insane things that happened to me. And while creepy and scary things are fewer and further between as of late, do I have a story for you? This experience is so wild that I am beyond curious to hear what you guys think of it and whether or not you think it's a dreamlike coincidence or if I truly was somewhere in the astral planes making a very big mistake in breaking one of the well-known rules. Before I get into this experience, I just want to say that I have been having so much fun lately filming content for you guys. I actually just spent the last 4 hours filming with someone that I know you guys are going to be so excited to see, and it just feels so good here on my channel. So if you enjoy my content and you want to see more of me, absolutely make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button. Make sure that your post notifications are turned on because I am uploading a new video every single day from now until the end of the year. And not just me. Over on Tyler's channel, he's uploading a creepy video every single day of the month as well. I'll have his link at the top of my description. So you'll be getting 2 videos from us on either channel every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get into this experience because the more that I think about it, it is just absolutely wild. All right, so the irony of all of this is the fact that one of my videos on my list of videos for the month of December is the rules of the dream space, more specifically, rules of astral projection that you should follow. And lately, I've been digging into even just like some new things that have surfaced, some new advice that people have been giving as they've been astral projecting and going into a dream land or a dream like space. And again, that's a video that I'm going to be filming and posting here on my channel. So that's not what today's video is about. However, this experience does tie in with the concept of astral projection, the dangers of astral projection, and the reality of a dream-like state. In the past here on my channel, we've talked about astral projection, what exactly it is, how it works, how you could astral project, and I've even shared my experiences with astral projection, which were completely unintentional. It happened so out of nowhere. I did not try to astral project. I just remember coming out of my own body, seeing myself sleeping, and even seeing the soul of my cat at the time out of their body while still seeing their physical body sleeping. It was the most insane experience of my life, and that particular experience was a terrifying one. It was not a safe space to have been in. And after I had shared that with you guys, I dove a little bit more into how things can go wrong and the things that you're supposed to do while you're in a state like that, or astral projecting or attempting to astral project, how you're supposed to protect yourself essentially. And I personally have not in the recent years done any sort of astral projection or I haven't tried at all to astral project. In fact, it's not really something that I'm eager to get into as of right now. With that being said though, my dreams have always been a space to connect to the other side. I have had countless premonitions that have come to fruition that there's just no way to explain it other than seeing it before it happens, at least in our specific timeline. And this was happening so frequently for me that I started having to verbalize these things as they were coming to me in the dreams Because to say that you saw it ahead of time afterwards, anybody can say that. Like, you can see something on the news and be like, I predicted that, my dream told me. But unless you shared it with someone ahead of time, the validity in it dissipates. So I started telling people around me all of these dreams that I was having and in the real time. And I had told you guys in the past, even more specifically, like there was even an individual online, and I don't even want to talk about it because it's so horrible what I had seen, but I had had a dream that I was essentially floating above them in a hospital room, and I had seen a very specific loss. And I remember I woke up in the morning and I had turned to Tyler and I said, look, I saw this. I don't want to speak it into existence, so I'm speaking it out of existence. I'm speaking that this was just a dream. It's not going to happen, but if I don't tell you and it happens, I'm going to feel crazy. So I ended up telling him, I ended up telling my mom, and then I ended up finding out that the night that I had the dream was when they had suffered this unimaginable loss. And I started asking myself, like, for what reason was I there? I don't know this individual whatsoever, and we've never associated in person, so why would I be in such an intimate, private moment floating above and seeing it happen? And to this day, I really don't know. It even got to a point where I was like predicting like people's passings, and that has not happened recently, mostly because I've put out there that if there's nothing good to come from it for me, I don't want to know. Like, if there's no way that you can change it, which when it's someone's time, it's someone's time, and it has no association to me, then what do I gain from seeing that? And so I kind of pulled back from those aspects of my dreams, and I was just dreaming as normal. Now, before I get into this experience, I promise all of this is relevant to the story. I have always been a vivid dreamer, and ever since I was a little girl, I've always traveled to other places while in my dreams, and I've always known that it was genuine travel. So there have been times where I've dreamed and I went places in the world like as things were happening, and there have been times where I've dreamed and I've literally felt as though I've been transported to an alternate dimension. Like, I've been in the fairy realm in my dreams. And I know so many people can say, well, these are just dreams, this isn't real. But again, when all of these things that are so massively undeniable are actually coming true after I've vocalized them to people that I've seen it in my dreams, you start to believe more of what you're seeing. And I've been pretty good at deciphering in my dreams between what's reality, as in like, what's reality in my dreams, as in like, what's a real experience and what's simply my mind. So I have had all of these dreams and all of these experiences, but I had, again, really not been trying to travel anywhere. Now, backtracking for a moment again to the rules of dreams. One of the things that people frequently advise against while astral projecting in your sleep specifically is asking those in that space anything that ties you to Earth. Here's what I mean by this. When you're traveling out in the astral planes, you can encounter beings from different dimensions, right? And in said dimensions, they do not measure time in the same way that we do on Earth. That is an earthly experience. That's something that man has done in order to create some sort of structure in time. But when it comes to the universe, when it comes to all of that, time does not exist in the way that we measure time here on Earth. Time is a human concept. So when you're traveling in the astral planes and you're encountering these beings that could be from alternate dimensions, different realities, and you begin to ask them things about time specifically, it can be a signal to them that you are not from that dimension and that you are from Earth. Now, one of the things that people warn against for this is that if you were to encounter a dark being, let's say you go to a negative vibrational plane and you encounter a dark entity or a dark spirit that then realizes that you have an unoccupied physical body back on Earth at home, many people believe that there is a possibility of said spirit or entity following you back to your space and trying to get to your space or to your body. Many people have even said that there are entities and spirits waiting to find somebody in the astral planes, depending on where you end up, because they know that there's an unoccupied human vessel and all they want is to come to Earth. Something that we don't realize, because Earth is such a low vibrational dimension, is that it is a privilege to come to Earth. And it's not something that we realize while we're here, but there are so many souls that love the idea of coming to Earth. This is where we evolve. This is where we face things that we otherwise wouldn't experience in the spirit dimensions. We experience all of these low vibrational things in contrast to these beautiful high vibrational things. And it is a beautiful experience. And there are a ton of souls, entities of the sorts that are just looking for an opportunity to inhabit a human body again. So that's one of the main reasons that you might have heard people say, well, you're astral projecting, avoid talking about time with anyone that you encounter, specifically asking what time it is. I'm sure you can see where this is going. One more thing for context, because all of this is really important, I believe. I had shared with you guys in the past when I was a child that I would often dream and end up in this one specific town, and this town did not feel safe to me ever. I would always end up in this bathroom with this one man, and I know it was a spirit, I know it was an entity, and it was terrifying. It was so bad. I was having actually extreme night terrors while this was going on, and I was unconsolable. So like when my mom would come in the room, there were times where she wanted to call 911 because I was so hysterical, but my mind was not here. And so she wasn't able to bring me back immediately. And my mom had taught me at the time that we can wake up from our dreams. So I was telling her I was scared to go to sleep because I didn't want to see this man. I didn't want to encounter him and have him get closer and closer to me. And so she was explaining to me, as was my grandma, that I can, if I'm conscious that I'm there, I can wake up from the dream and I can leave it. So I remember there was one dream where I ended up back in the town, and I've got this newfound confidence that I'm able to decide that I don't want to be there. And I end up back in this bathroom. I can still see it in my head, and I'm almost 30 years old. I'm going to be 29 in January. And this is from my childhood. I remember I was telling myself in the dream, this is a dream. You can wake up, Hailey. You can wake up. And he was getting closer saying, you're not going to wake up. You can't wake up. Even if you know that this is a dream, you're not going to wake up. And I remember crying, screaming, saying like, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to wake up. And I actually had to train myself to learn how to control and wake up from my dreams. So now I'm really, really good 90% of the time of knowing, even when my grandma comes to me in my dreams, of knowing when I'm simply dreaming of her from like memory and when I'm actually seeing her and communicating with her. I don't know what went wrong on this specific night, but for some reason in the moment, I was just so confused in the dream that I ended up breaking that rule of asking about the time, which is really strange because when it comes to dreaming in general, like spirituality aside, most people don't see clocks or time in their dreams. A lot of people don't. So the fact that that was even within my mindset is strange, but I'm going to paint the picture for you guys here. I had went to sleep this particular night, and all of the nights leading up to this, I knew that my dreams were spiritual. I'd been becoming more open to communicating with my angels and guides again through my dreams, and I've been having all of these phenomenal like messages and just beautiful things coming through that I was anticipating on this night, another beautiful spiritual night of dreaming. And in this dream, I ended up in a space, perhaps this is why I ended up asking about the time, but I ended up in a space that felt like what you would picture like the Milky Way looking like when you're a kid. It was almost like space, but it wasn't space. Everything felt so mystical and dreamlike and almost in slow motion. Like the world around was going so slow. I can't even put it into words, but yet all of the beings that were there were like wandering around. And I remember looking down, and I didn't specifically see anything. Like I didn't see my condo building. I didn't see Earth, but I was looking down and I could sense that I was elsewhere. And there were a couple of different beings around. There was a woman that I had noticed because she was quite beautiful across the way. There was one man that had been walking with me and another man that had been walking. And again, in the dream, they didn't feel human. I don't know how to explain it, but to me, they looked human, but that was my perception of it. And so as we're walking, they begin to take notice of me listening to their conversation. And the weird thing is, I can't remember what it is that they were talking about. And the one guy stops in his tracks and he looks and turns towards me. And I remember we made this eye contact in the dream that locked in. And it was like, we were no longer, you know what it was almost like? As if you're in a video game and you're going about what you're supposed to be doing, and then all of a sudden someone in the video game just like recognizes you. And now you're locked in on one another and there's like an exchange of energy. So we're standing there, and for some reason, right off the bat, I look at this man and I go, I'm sorry, do you know what time it is? And it was like everything stopped. The two men that were by me, and even the one woman, there was two women. There was one further in the distance and one woman kind of in the center between where the two men were and where the other girl was. And they all just stopped and looked at me. And they didn't say anything. But then the one girl in the far distance looks down at like what I thought was a phone at the time, but looking back, I didn't actually see a phone. It's just what my mind thought was going on. Looked down at what I thought was a phone and told me the time. She said it was like 3-something a.m., ironically. And I said, oh, thank you. And I looked and I could tell that I wasn't supposed to have asked that. And so immediately I look at this man and I'm like, just asking for fun. Like, I don't even know what I was saying. And the two men start like talking amongst each other, but I don't know what they're saying. And I look over and this woman's now looking at me, the one who gave me the time. And the one guy in the dream turns to me and says, don't worry, she'll see her tomorrow. And I'm like, I'll see who tomorrow? And that was it. I woke up from the dream. Now, ironically, when I had rolled back over, it was around 4-something in the morning. So whether or not when I had been in that dream state, it was around 3 a.m., again, time is a human concept. So whatever time it was when I was in the dream, who knows? But I remember waking up and feeling like, what the hell was that? And why did it actually feel a little bit scary? Like I had raised an alarm or a red flag when I asked about the time. And I'm asking myself, like, was that just a dream? Is it because I've been looking into this that I'm now dreaming about asking about the time? And I had made up my mind that that's what it was. I was like, all right, that's all it is. You're doing research into this. You're dreaming about it. Of course. I completely forget about this by the afternoon. It's just slipped my brain. Again, I'm writing it off as just a total random dream that was truly a dream, had no significant meaning to it other than I've been looking into this. And later that day, I go to the grocery store. And I go to checkout, and as I'm there, I can see the woman at the cash looking at me a little bit weird. And it sounds really, really ridiculous when I say this, but when people look at me weird in public, I never know if it's like they're looking at me weird just because I'm doing something weird or they think I'm weird or it's just weird, or if it's because maybe they watch my videos or like they've seen one of my videos and they're trying to figure out where they know me from. Because in the past, I've had people like looking at me weird and they're like, I can't place where I know you. And then they're like, I'm subscribed, and they realize it. So I remember just thinking to myself, like, why is she looking at me like that? And as we're finishing checking out, she goes, you look really familiar. And I was like, oh, like, I don't mean to be weird, but maybe you watch my YouTube. Like, I wasn't sure. And she's like, no, I don't watch YouTube. And she couldn't figure it out. And I'm grabbing my bags. And as I'm walking away, like a movie, it hits me so quickly that that woman is the woman that I had seen in my dream the night before who had told me the time. And then I start remembering that in my dream, the two men, when they were talking amongst each other, said, she'll see her tomorrow. Now, this woman and I have no association to one another. In fact, I have never seen her at the cash, like, of the grocery store any time I've been since. But how freaking, guys, it was so undeniable. It was one of those things where in the moment, I wasn't thinking much of it. I'm trying to get my groceries, trying to do what I have to do. And as I'm leaving and I look back, it was like undeniable. You know when you see someone and you're like, I know them from somewhere, but you can't pinpoint it. And then all of a sudden it hits you. That was what this was like for me. And by the time it hit me, I was already like loading up my car and on my way home. And then I'm thinking like, should I have mentioned like I saw you in my dream last night? You gave me the time. Like, that's so weird. And what was the purpose of it? Was it just coincidental that we happened to be in the same dreamlike space? She's the one who gave the time, and then I saw her at the grocery store? Or is it all just coincidence? Flash forward to a couple of nights later, I start dreaming again, and I can feel myself going back to this place. And I can't even explain how I knew that's where I was going. It was like a familiar feeling. So it wasn't like I recognized anything. Again, even the atmosphere in which I was in is a blur to me. It felt like that was going so slow, and we were all moving so normal. It was so weird. But as I feel myself like going back to the energetic space and I'm mentally like seeing this man, I got this feeling of don't go back. And so I started telling myself, you got to wake up, Hailey. You got to wake up, Hailey. And I woke back up. But since then, I haven't had any sort of dream like this. However, there is one place that I've been visiting almost every night in my dreams. And I know it's the same place because it's always the same people. It's the same building. There's like things to it that I don't even think I could comprehend in my own mind to create the dream. I know that's not how it works, but that's how I feel. And yeah, it's just crazy where my dreams have been going. But I can't believe that I, of all people, was up there and decided to ask for the time as if it was even relevant. I don't even know where that came from for me or why. But I totally would have wrote it off as solely a dream if it wasn't the next day that I saw that girl. And she was undeniably recognizable. I just wasn't taking it in enough while I was bagging the groceries. I don't know. Regardless, I felt like I had to come on and share this with you guys because one of the most requested things here on my channel is personal stories. So when I get one, when something happens, I always want to share it with you. But that is basically my experience in the dreamland and asking the time. Now, with that being said, definitely keep your eyes peeled. I am going to be doing a video on all of the rules that you're supposed to follow while astral projecting and specifically while in a dream state. But that is my experience, and I am so beyond curious to hear what you guys think of it. Honestly, if you believe it's a total coincidence, just a dream, and it all just happened strangely afterwards, I completely get that, and I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. But to me, the fact that it was the next day and I wasn't even looking for her, I wasn't even looking for it, it had completely slipped my mind. And her being like, I recognize you. I don't think that could be a coincidence. But let me know down below. Well, you guys, that is it for today's story time. I really do hope that you enjoyed it. We are just getting started here on my channel for December. So again, if you enjoy my content, please, please, please subscribe. Check into my channel every day for December. I hope that you will join me for the end of the year. And please, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. It really, really helps my channel, and it helps me to know what you're enjoying, so I can make more of it. With all of that being said, remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until tomorrow, I love you. Bye, guys.